story of Jet Airways, there have been a slew of negative developments. First, we saw a number of more flights being grounded for the airline carrier. They only have about 15 odd more aircrafts, and they have officers also, which they, according to sources, have been told have asked them to go on a sabbatical. And now the latest is the commentary coming in from the Aviation Ministry saying that Jet's international operations will have to be reviewed, will have to be re-examined. Jitender Bhargava is back with us on the phone line. Let's get in his perspective. Mr. Bhargava, more and more, mess being created with respect to how the airline and the entire saga has played out. And now we're picking up that the Aviation Ministry could be reviewing its international operations as well. Give us your perspective on this entire development. How is it likely to play out? What are the factors that could actually, at this point of time, be working against their international operations as well?
You see, one had thought that once the resolution plan was put forth by the banks and Naresh Goyal and his wife have stepped down from the board, everything with Jet Airways will be on the mend. But unfortunately, it hasn't happened. More and more aircraft have been grounded, perhaps because the infusion of funds as committed by the bank consortium hasn't taken place. Now, the reality is if the eligibility for foreign operations is to be examined by the Ministry of Civil Aviation, it will be a sad day, not for Jet Airways alone, but for Indian aviation. But one thing that one cannot overlook is the fact that this clause of 5 years of domestic operations and 20 aircraft in the fleet, which was a policy decision taken unprecedented in the global aviation industry, was in a way influenced by Naresh Goyal, just to ensure that there was no competition for him when he began international operations. So if he is going to be a victim of that policy, call it either poetic justice or irony, or plain simple irony.
Well, they do say that, karma comes a full circle, Mr. Bhargava. This is Nayantara joining in from the New Delhi studio. Yeah. I have another question for you. Yes, 5 years, 15 aircraft. We used to call it 520 also, remember, back in the day.
Right, yes.
It was Naresh Goyal's brainchild. It's something Vijay Mallya had criticized heavily because it was a way of keeping Kingfisher out. At that time, it was about the two of them. Having said that, Mr. Bhargava, can you tell us that what exactly is the norm? If you go below that, even once, do you stand to lose your license? Or does it come under review? What exactly is the law? What exactly is the policy? That's what I'm trying to understand. Or is the policy, or does the policy allow certain exception once or twice?
Nayantara, my understanding of the policy is that was a qualifying part. That once you fulfill the 20 aircraft in 5 years of domestic operation, you qualify to fly abroad. I don't think it can be put in this way that should your aircraft fleet number go down below 20 because of exceptional circumstances, should the ministry take a decision, I don't think it will be a good idea on the ministry to take a decision at such a stage when they know for sure that a consortium of banks is going to be infusing funds, the leasing companies are going to be paid for, and the question of time before the number of aircraft go back to 20 again. Because once Jet Airways withdraws from international, it will do a tremendous harm and lead to value erosion of Jet, making its revival and that much difficult. So I don't think ministry any hasty step to curtail Jet's operation or to ask Jet to withdraw from international flights.
Okay, so let's see how this one works. When I interviewed the Finance Minister Arun Jaitley over the weekend, he was pretty clear that India cannot afford for another airline to come crashing down, the closure of another airline. So let's just see how this one pans out. Remember, the government has already instructed the banks to convert the debt to equity. There's 1/4 of legal experts who believe that the striking down of the Feb 12 circular by Supreme Court could throw a span in the works, but not all experts are on board with that. Jitender Bhargava, always a pleasure chatting with you. Karunya.
Serious concerns, being faced by Jet. Let's see how it plays out. What will be the result of that review by the Aviation Ministry when it happens for Jet Airways. But for now, let's stick to the markets.